Hello and welcome to The Review. My name is Tara Newton-Wordsworth and today I'm interviewing Tallulah Rendall. She is a singer-songwriter musician and she has just released her third album called The Banshee and the Moon, and she has 3 albums, all of which have been crowdfunded, which is fairly unique, and has just been nominated for an award. So thank you so much for joining us, Tallulah. It's beautiful to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Tara.
How did you come to be a musician slash singer slash songwriter?
How did I... So, I grew up in a very eccentric, creative household, and my dad was a singer as a child. Didn't tell you that, and so I think when they discovered that I had musical tendencies, it was like, whoa, okay, let's just kind of encourage that, push her into the kind of fray. And so I remember having, singing lessons age 5 and piano lessons, and so I kind of, my whole childhood was really music surrounded.
Wow, that's like the opposite of most parents.
Yeah.
They're like, don't do music, please, just
No, just
be a lawyer.
Yeah.
You've got some absolutely amazing quality books and CDs. Tallulah, instead of releasing normal CDs, actually released books with the CD and vinyl as well. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so I've got 3 albums. The first is like my show and tell. I always feel like a bit like Debbie McGee. This is my first album, which is called Libellus, and there's a piece of artwork and a story behind each of the songs, and I did this album with an amazing producer called Marius DeVries. And then after that, my next show and tell is Alive, and this I crowdfunded through Pledge Music, and it was an enormous project to do actually, because I decided that I wanted to collaborate with 30 different artists. So I gave each artist a song from the album and then asked them to create whatever they wanted to in response to the music. So we ended up with a whole cross-section of pieces of art, from an animation film to a stop frame animation film, where it was done in the old traditional Disney style, where if you pick up a glass, that has to be drawn 50 times.
And is the
final one is called The Banshee and the Moon. And this is, I think, my most personal offering, because I played everything on the album, and unlike the 2 previous ones, I didn't play with a band, and it was...
So you did all of the instruments on this?
I did all the instrumentation.
Wow!
Except for the drums, actually. John, who was my drummer for the previous records, he played drums. But yeah, I played everything on the album, and this one was much simpler. I kind of stripped it down to the idea of having 5 photographers, and I wanted to take a black and white landscape picture for each of the songs, and I wanted them to be, each of the images to be very spontaneous, but I wanted to capture the emotion behind the song. So, for example, this is Pieces, which is a current single, and I wrote this song when I'd moved out to Berlin, and for the first time in my life I was picked up by a label and I was signed, and I had a manager and a booking agent, and it was this amazing period of time, and then unfortunately it just unravelled, as these things sometimes do, and the whole thing fell apart, and it was just really kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. And this song was written in that time when it was just all crumbling, and I really had to pick up the pieces of my life and put them back together again. And so yeah, that's The Banshee and the Moon. So, and it's also on vinyl. So all my albums have been crowdfunded, and for those of you that don't know what crowdfunding is, you basically create a project or an idea and then put it out into the world and put up a list of incentives and ways that people can support the project. So for me, people could hire me for shows, or they could buy a piece of my artwork, or they could commission me to write a song, whatever it is they want, whatever it is that I could think of that was feasible, that I was happy to do. So one of the crowdfunders from The Banshee and the Moon, after they'd received their copy of the album, called me up, and very sadly his brother had passed away, and he really wanted to do something in memory of Alexander, and So he invited me to enter a little business proposition with him and basically create the album on vinyl. It's a gatefold, so it's got the two images, the Banshee and Hamuni, as some people have liked to, like to call it.
That is brilliant.
And it comes with a download. So for those people who don't have vinyl anymore, they can listen to the album in vinyl quality. So that's my those are my offerings.
It's just so unique, you know, like I've never seen anyone who's done anything like it. How did you sort of come up with the idea?
In my little eccentric household, family members, my mum used to run a nightclub, and as a child growing up, the downstairs basement was always full of vinyl, and so I was forever leafing through it, and you know, old Stones records, Hendrix records, Santana records, Fleetwood Mac, you know, these amazing, beautiful gatefold covers, and I just remember being really seduced by them and just thinking that it was so beautiful and that I wanted my music to be presented in that way, but I was kind of a couple of decades too late, so I was trying to find ways to kind of bridge that gap, and a book seemed to be the most obvious way of doing it, and I then felt, you know, my music was coming out at a time when people were just downloading music for free and artists were really suffering, you know, not that it's much better now, but it is slightly better, and this is what I do 24 hours of the day, and for people to really reconnect with the artist as an artist, not as a produced, manufactured creature where there's, you know, okay, that world does exist, but it's not my world. And, you know, I live and breathe what I do, and I really wanted to tell the stories behind the songs and just the journey of being an independent artist, what it's like to crowdfund, what it's like to, you know, do living room tours. You know, I did a 30-date tour last year where I just put this message out on Facebook and Twitter and said, if you want me to come and play in your house, I'll come, and we'll do a donation basis, so you invite whoever you want to come and we'll just pass the hat round at the end, and it was an amazing opportunity for me to really engage with people that love my music and kind of really tell the stories behind the songs, and you know, my kind of real seed of intention is to inspire people to be really creative within themselves and within their own lives, and that might sound quite grandiose and a little bit pretentious, but it's, you know, fuck it, it's what I believe. You know, everyone is creative, and I've been really fortunate in that I've been really encouraged by my family and those around me to be creative and just to do these extraordinary, crazy concepts, and whereas a lot of people haven't had that opportunity, and that's something that I really would like to encourage other people to do, and yeah, that's...
Well, it's amazing, and you sort of, you've done that just with your own work by involving other people. And giving them an opportunity to put their art in the book, and you know, I mean, that's a very amazing, like you, and also photographers and all kinds of people. So yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant. You've just been on the BBC yesterday. And you're about to do a tour of 30 universities, is that right?
Yeah, so I've just been on BBC Introducing, which is amazing, with Sam Bonham, and that's been really incredible because, you know, because it's just me, you know, as I was saying to you before, it's like trying to get this out into the world. There's only so much I can do, and I'll kind of go through waves of just being like knocking on doors and sending emails and calling people and be like, please just check it out, and finally the BBC Bristol picked it up, and I went in and did an interview with them, and they've been really they're really getting behind me, which is amazing after so many years of being out in the wilderness. And as well, I've just been invited to do this tour. Yeah, it starts on the 3rd of November and it goes until the 15th of November, and it's 2 shows a day, 3 universities a day, and it's the most full-on thing to just kind of get my even head around it, just like the logistics, because I loop, at the moment, I loop sound, you know, I loop guitar and vocals and bass or piano, and so I have a lot of gear when I'm touring, and luckily I'm taking my drummer with me, Nick, which is going to be great because he's very manly, as all drummers are, they seem to be very manly, and so he can help lug shit. Good. But yeah, that'll be great for the two of us to be on the road, and really looking forward to that, just having that element to the show. going
Well-
into the student unions and stuff. Yeah.
Amazing, and I just think, you know, it's just so brilliant what you're doing, and I really, really, you know, wish you all the best, because
Thank you.
you deserve massive success. Your music is so unique and amazing, and you know what you do is just so creative, and I really love it. So we will put links up.
Cool.
Please watch the videos and check out the links, and thank you so much for joining us today, Tallulah, and we'll see you next